There we've got breaking news coming in. There's a statement coming in from Taliban as we speak, and I quote, "We will not enter Kabul by force. Negotiations are underway for peacefully entering into Kabul. We have ordered all our forces to stop at the gates of Kabul," unquote. Shiv was just mentioning earlier as well how this particular statement needs to be taken with a pinch of salt right there. Shiv, like you were mentioning earlier, we cannot take these statements at face value, just a matter of time perhaps before they enter the capital city.
Yeah, Chaiti, the thing is, this statement that's been put out by the Taliban is very interesting because it shows you layers of a terror group that has tasted actual administrative power in a war-torn country. This is not just a bunch of guys carrying AK-47s and rocket launchers, walking through the streets and slaughtering people. That is, of course, something that they do, but they also realize that to take over administrative power and to institute an Islamic emirate in Afghanistan and impose Sharia law, they need to they need to make sure that this isn't some kind of all-out carnage festival. They have to make sure that the population is also on their side. Blood will be spilled for sure, but they want to make sure that they try and spill as little blood as necessary for any kind of a transition, because they know that blood is an expensive business. And with the US actually withdrawing, there is a sense of uncertainty in the battlefield of Kabul. But the Taliban are old past masters. Let's never forget that, Chaiti. These are terrorists who've been operating in the badlands of Afghanistan since the 70s, when they were trained by the Soviets. Then they were trained by the Pakistanis. Now they've got the support of the Chinese. They've always had powerful friends, Chaiti. And that's the reason why the Taliban has a great deal of confidence. They have an unending supply of funds for their weaponry, for their vehicles, for their equipment, for their training, for their huge armies. They have an army of about 75,000 people at this point of time. And that's one of the reasons why they completely outnumber the Afghan forces and have been able to completely pull down one provincial capital after the other. And therefore,
Shiv, you understand this better. You have the Taliban taken over Torkham border crossing as well. Does Torkham represent the last post that was still under the government control? And what does this really mean?
A very good question, Chaiti. The Torkham post is one of the last stands as far as government control is concerned. But if you look at all the images that have been coming in from Afghanistan, what do you really see? You see one post after another that's already been abandoned. You see one airbase after another that's already been abandoned. India Today's Ashraf Wani was the first to report from the Bagram airbase and from Kandahar just days before either the airbase fell or the city was taken over by the Taliban. Kandahar is the Taliban's heartland, its sort of spiritual capital, as it was. So it's only inevitable. We're looking at the small picture here when we talk about little provinces or little posts, because those are inevitably going to be lost or have already been lost by, to the Taliban. The question now is what happens next. Even if Kabul falls, the fact is you've got about 65 to 70% of geographical territory of Afghanistan, and it's a huge country, Chaiti, already under Taliban control, which means that they already, their word already counts for who's the boss in Afghanistan at this point of time. So you've got one tiny outpost in the country's capital, Kabul, holding out, whereas you don't really have a military force that is fighting the Taliban at this point of time. So what we're seeing is global history repeat itself maybe for the fourth time in this poor, sad, unfortunate country.
And very unfortunate turn of events happening right there. Taliban almost on the outskirts of Kabul, the capital. And it perhaps could be the last nail in the coffin, as Shiv was mentioning. It's just a matter of time before they enter. They put out all these statements. Taliban has put out a statement saying that we will not enter. But this statement, as Shiv was mentioning, needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. Perhaps just a matter of time before they take Kabul down. And almost a majority of the country is now being controlled by Taliban. They are deciding who the boss is going to be. This is a big development coming in, viewers. At this point, we're getting you up to speed with the latest. Afghanistan on an absolutely a brink of collapse. The Taliban has entered Kabul. The last post under government control has fallen. Let's now take a look at the timeline of the offensive of Taliban on which date Taliban captured which city. Let's walk you through it on your screens right now. 6th of August, Zarganj. 7th of August, Shibirgan. 8th of August, Sarepul, Talukan as well. 9th of August, Aibak. 10th of August, Farah, Pule Khumri. 11th of August, Faizabad. 12th of August, Ghazni, Herat, Kandahar. 13th of August, Lashkar, Kalaino, Feruzkop, Pulayam, Tarakot, Kalat. 14th of August, Mazar-e-Sharif, Logar province as well, Paktida province. And on 15th of August, you had Jalalabad, Maidan, Vardak. Now they're on the outskirts of Kabul as we speak. This is going to remain our top focus right here on India Today. Helicopters at US Embassy in Kabul at this point of time. Taliban on the outskirts of the capital, Kabul. All the latest when it comes to the Afghanistan crisis. First here on India Today, we'll bring you the latest as Taliban enters the outskirts and saying that negotiations are underway, but one can't believe what statements they put out. We're going to slip into a very short commercial break with these live visuals that are coming in at this point of time from Afghanistan. This story remains to be our top focus. Headlines on the other side with me. Stay with us.